shared.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that.
We'll kick this off right.
That's what we were supposed to be waiting for.
It's more like the testing thing at this point.
It's so gross. It's so gross.
Now, if anyone heard that, let me know. We're all clear now.
This is where I should have been paying attention and shared it beforehand. This is why we have the whole standby screen, and I didn't do it.
I could do it again.
I think Emily Detmer might have been commenting on something you posted.
Why?
I don't.
What?
Oh, never mind.
What?
Never mind. I'm just stupid. I don't know anything. She posted something about a Batman something or other, and started it with Chris, comma, I have noticed, and I'm like, oh, she's trying to reply to you, but messed up and just typed it on her own wall instead of replying. No, I'm sure. I think it's probably just something. I don't know. I don't know anything.
Am I friends with her on Facebook?
No, this is Twitter.
Oh, okay.
You said wall.
Oh. Is there somebody that plays Batman named Chris?
Christian Bale.
Is she replying to somebody?
No, it's just a post. It's just.
Well, yeah, Christian Bale would be.
Mm.
But that's Christian, not Chris.
Well, it'd
I've
still
seen
be.
some people
Chris could
shorten
still
it.
be short for that. My microphone is trying to smack me in the face. I have to brace it with my chin to keep it from shaking.
I'm just glad that my head is a little bit lighter now that I shaved the beard off.
I saw that when I tuned into the Dirtbags thing. I was like, he never shaves for us.
I think literally after the last episode is when I went upstairs and we shaved.
It's time.
Well, I was going to shave it before, and she was like, I'm busy right now, because she was going to help me so it wasn't a huge mess.
Mm.
And she was like, I'm busy. Can we do it afterwards?
I saw this one thing. It was like one of those life hack type things. And it was, this girl took an apron and you cut off the strings that tie around your waist, and you sew into it a couple of suction cups. And you put the suction cups on the mirror, so it catches everything.
Oh no, I've seen the the one I saw was not the aprons, but the half apron that's just your waist with. It's almost like you see people use it for yard sales that they've got their money bags in. I've seen that, but they tie it around their neck.
Or the guys that want donations are giving you Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, those things. Can you lean that way, any?
This way?
Well, just meaning your body's turned like this and your shoulders cut off. So.
Am I good here?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
It was just the way you were leaning. If you leaned any more like that, you were going to start falling off the camera. I guess also you could have just slid closer.
That's what I ended up doing.
Yep, you're good now. Okay, are you good on that?
I'm good on here.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Recombobulation area.
What? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. Jeweler's aprons.
Jeweler's aprons.
That's what Rusted Beetle's got it.
Oh, yes, that is what they're called.
And thank you
did
for
not know that's what they're called.
So loud.
Sorry. Ah!
It's like the entire internet just went, ah. Even if they
It's
weren't
like
listening.
that scene in Fifth Element where they crush the thing and the headphones just fly off of them.
All right. Start the show in 3, 2, 1. This podcast is brought to you thanks to all our patrons over at patreon.com/boards and swords. Go check it out and see how you can help support us. Live from Swordplay Studios, it's time for Boards and Swords.
That's right, kids.
Come get your candy.
That doesn't sound.
Yeah, I've got my van parked out back. Yeah. Let's go.
Hey there, boys.
No. We are a family-friendly episode.
And then we'll go for a swim.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast where we have fun talking about board games. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Chris, and then
Oh.
Oh no.
He's not here. Philip's not here.
Darn.
Yeah.
No sassy remarks.
Well, I'm Colin. I'm Colin.
I'm not so sure about that.
I'm just kidding. What did you say?
I'm
sorry.
Colin.
I'm Cindy. I'm punchy. This is gonna be fun.
I'm sassy, apparently.
You? Oh yeah.
Wait, if you're punchy, does that make me Schmosby?
I have
Remember
no
that
idea
time
what's
that you
going
took me in
on.
the pool?
How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
I think you said the wrong line, and it turned into something really funny.
What? I did say I combined like
Yeah,
two things.
not Dookie in the pool, Dookie in your pants.
down by the lake is what it is. I think.
Unbelievable.
Sorry, I love this show.
You know, it's really unbelievable.
What's that?
The news. Hey. Ah, crap. I went to the wrong thing. There we go. News. Aha. So. What?
She's punchy.
Oh. Okay.
Make me laugh for real. Okay, come on.
Isaac Childress announced that the Shucks convention happened a couple of weeks
Oh
ago.
yeah, shut up
Oh,
and
yeah.
sit down. Colin.
Yep. That the popular dungeon crawler game Gloomhaven will be getting a more entry-level version later in 2020.
Mm.
With the placeholder name Gloomhaven Subtitle. That's for real. Like
Oh.
That's literally
he
what it
showed
is.
like a
That was
mock.
funny enough, though.
He showed a mock-up of it that just says Gloomhaven Subtitle, and that's like what the listing in Board Game Geek is.
Untitled Gloomhaven.
Yeah. The game will be about $40-$50, have about 24 missions in it, and will be available at Target.
Huh.
Target. That's cool.
Yeah. If you're like me, this means you now have 1 year to come up with newer excuses about why you haven't tried Gloomhaven.
Oh my gosh.
Got him!
Yeah, because it's too expensive. It's too huge of a commitment, or you just can't get it. Well, that's gone. Whoop, I accidentally flipped off the camera there.
For you live viewers there only.
Yeah. Oh man, let's talk about your favorite game company, Renegade Games. I jumped a joke, but we'll go back. And they launched a new Kickstarter called Scott Pilgrim Miniatures the World.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Based on the popular comic book turned into a movie, the game has you play Scott, his companions, or one of the evil exes standing in his way. I was going to put a joke here, but after the Styx joke last week fell flat, I know no one here would get a Scott Pilgrim joke.
Yeah, no. It would be totally
No.
lost.
I know nothing about Scott Pilgrim. So, and to be honest, like a lot of a couple years ago, sure, Renegade was awesome. They kept coming out with stuff like I loved everything, but all the stuff they've been producing recently, I have no desire to ever get.
You mean not even Clank Legacy?
Well, okay, that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. How did I forget that? But like,
not much except for the one game I want this year.
yeah, but no,
I'd call that more an expansion.
yeah.
No,
So,
it's a
but
standalone
like,
game.
I
mean,
know that, but it's like in its own.
I know
in
that
a
they're
universe.
making big great games, but I just have like the Tremors game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care. Scott Pilgrim, don't care. Power Rangers, don't care. So it's interesting. Like I know that
Yeah.
they're doing well, but it's just it's
When
weird to me that all of a sudden like my interest in them has changed so much because of the type of content they're producing now.
When I found out that Terra Below didn't have Kevin Bacon in it,
oh, I said
I
Tremors,
lost,
didn't I?
I lost
Same
total.
thing.
Yeah.
I lost total interest.
Well, to be fair, they're just kind of like scoping out the market, I think, to try and get other groups that
Yeah.
normally
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't buy their
Which
stuff.
is fantastic. It's a good move on their part for sure.
But I don't know. This one, I will say, if you are interested, if the idea of a Scott Pilgrim minis game, I think you're gonna want to back this on Kickstarter because I breezed through it because I'm familiar with it, but I don't know if I want it. But I breezed through, and there's like a couple of minis that come in like the base game, but like all the really
cool stuff,
like, and it's not even cool, but like there's one. So in the comic book, there's 7 evil exes for this girl he likes that he has to battle throughout the story. The game comes with 1 base set. So like doesn't seem like a whole lot of replayability there. There's a couple of good guys you can be, but like 1 bad guy. But you get all these other people. If you back the Kickstarter, you get all these Kickstarter exclusive stuff.
Huh. Interesting.
So I kind of wonder, if that's maybe their goal. Like, this is kind of a niche thing that maybe they're not planning on making a whole lot past retail,
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if
or past Kickstarter.
Yeah, you made me think of like what Gale Force 9 does. They talk about everything in the rule book that's in the expansions coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's 7 X's. if you're familiar,
the box has all of them. Yeah. All right, let me jump back a joke here. The Herb Witches expansion for Quacks of Quedlinburg is now available from North Star Games.
Oh yeah.
This expansion adds a 5th player to the mix, along with some new potions and ingredients. It also adds a new winning condition: who can convince the others of the correct pronunciation of herb.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Lastly, last one.
Dumb.
The newest in the Tiny Epic... Wait, hi, Chris Renshaw. Have we met? So the newest in the Tiny Epic line is now on Kickstarter. Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
From Gameland Games.
Dinosaurs are all the rage now.
Yeah. It's it's like somebody saw like, man, everyone really likes all these dinosaur games. Maybe we should make a tiny one. It's a 45-minute worker placement game for 1 to 4 players where you try and be the best to gather and breed dinosaurs. Dinosaur pun time. You'll shell out $20 for this game. Some reviewers are already calling the game excellent. Don't play with Colin and Cindy or you'll get Jurassic-kicked.
That one was good.
Philip is still waiting to unraptor his Tiny Epic Megs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was good.
And you can't triceratop these puns.
Oh my gosh. That was... Two of those are really good.
Them's the news.
Good.
I like the Jurassic.
Rusted Beetle is right in the chat room. The Edgar Wright movie is great.
Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah.
Is that the one that had
Michael Cera?
Michael Cera.
Yep.
All I could think of was Jesse Einhorn or whatever his name is.
Didn't do well in the box office. But I've sat and watched that movie a bunch.
Oh, okay.
I said Einhorn. That's
you mean Eisenhower or whatever? The guy that played
Heisenberg or
the guy that played Zuckerberg.
Goldberg.
What? You're just saying things now.
No, I said Einhorn at first, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Ace Ventura. Finkel is Einhorn.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Oh my gosh. I like his excuse for you for Gloomhaven.
Oh yeah, that playing it will be the build the wooden insert for Gloomhaven. Don't have that excuse either because I accidentally got it, and some friends of mine built it instead.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, I need that back.
When we were in Virginia Beach visiting our friend Jason, who sometimes joins us in the chat, he seriously contemplated getting Gloomhaven, and he was like, "Do you think we could play this weekend?" And I'm like, "Well, we could play a couple rounds of it, but Jason, it's a huge campaign game. I mean." As much fun as it would be to play it with you constantly, like regularly, we live too far apart for that.
It just gives you more reason to go visit. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he ended up passing, but at least for the time
he was about
being.
to move anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like he's currently in Missouri?
He's in limbo. No, he's still in Virginia Beach. He's in limbo.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't know what's happening yet. At least not that I'm aware of. He was supposed to get orders, and things have just been pushing to the right.
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Gloomhaven's. You got me all messed up now. Gloomhaven's one of those games that it's the game I should have played and I haven't yet.
Yeah.
And I even know somebody, like I've got a couple of like when I mention this in some of our local groups, there's like 2 or 3 people that are like, Chris, I have Gloomhaven, and we can get you into a campaign if you want. And I'm like, yes, I know this. There's like 3 people that have a Gloomhaven, but no one's actually given me like a time and a place.
Yeah. Roger, if you're listening to this,
Roger apparently has the minis too.
call Chris up or text Chris or something and just tell him be here at this time.
And
you heard it. That's what he wants, Roger.
There's a 50% chance I'll be there.
Yeah.
So, speaking of, I don't know, I was going to transition there, but I will say, we just finished news, so I'll say I'll go ahead and talk about your idea because I'd like to get some viewer input.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And people can either email us feedback@boardsandswords.com or Twitter, Facebook, any of those places, or those the couple people that are in the chat. So Colin had the idea, and it's something that I've been thinking about as well, where sometimes we don't have a whole lot of reviews for each individual show. And so potentially doing more topic-based episodes like we have been doing, and I've been kind of enjoying those.
I have too.
And then pulling out the interviews and either doing them maybe once every couple of,
interviews or reviews?
I said interviews. I said meant reviews. Pulling out reviews and either doing them less frequent, so maybe there's like one show where we do a bunch, or having them on the YouTube channel and doing YouTube reviews, or potentially even both. You could do the full-on review on YouTube and then do like the quick down and dirty 30-second review, here. So, idea we're thinking about.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Because obviously we're making this content for you.
Yeah.
So, that's important. If you like the way things are, let us know. If you think it would be fun having the stuff switched, separated out, let us know that too.
If we don't get any responses, we're going to flip a coin and whatever happens.
There are dice right there. We could use those.
A coin's just a 2-sided die.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. What if we get like 4 options, Colin?
There's a D4 then.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So I will start us off and talk about something I've had for a little while and been experimenting with, the Raiders of the North Sea app.
Yeah.
From Lone Wolf Studios, I believe, is who's doing it.
Lone Wolf, not Dire Wolf?
Dire Wolf, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Dire Wolf. Dire Wolf Studios. They've been they got a whole bunch of new digital things coming up.
Yeah.
Root, super excited for Root.
They finally got the Mummy's Curse Clank expansion in the app. For that.
Well, we gotta play that again so we can use it.
That's a scoring thing, right?
No,
it's a companion app.
Right, that's what I meant, like a companion. It's for like if you want to play solo and
you
stuff.
You can
right?
do scoring and you can do solo, but you can also it's just like an extra element. Like if certain conditions are met, something happens.
You hit a button.
But it's not like a digital version.
No.
No. Sorry.
That's what I thought you were saying.
But it's not just like a timer or whatever.
Or a scorekeeper or anything. No, it actually enhances your gameplay.
Gotcha. Well, so I've talked about on the show how Ashley and I really like the Raiders of the North Sea. So I wanted to see, because a lot of times we don't have the time to pull out the game and set it up. I wanted to see how that went with the app instead. So I actually we got to try 2 different versions. So Ashley tried the app version for like a tablet, and I got it on Nintendo Switch because there's a bunch of, I've been playing my Switch more, and there's a lot of apps coming out for Nintendo Switch, and so I wanted to see how it compares. So to do this justice, I feel like I need to break that into 2 parts.
Okay.
Because too long, don't want to listen. Basically, the app is great. I don't know if it'd be worth buying on the Switch. Like, great, what?
Your wife just texted you and said, find your camera. So I don't know if that's from relating to
Oh, no,
us.
that's something else.
Oh, sorry. I just didn't know if it was like this and we needed to stop and fix something.
No, because I'm seeing it. But,
sorry.
So the Switch so there's a lot of games coming out for the Switch. But every time, I've gotten them and I've played this one, I've played Carcassonne. But when I pick up the Switch, I don't want to play a board game per se. Like I want to play a full meaty game because that's what the Switch allows me to do because it's portable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can play Mario games or Super Smash Brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
About the only time I could see this being the only scenario in which I could see a Switch version being useful for me, or granted this is for me, is like docking it and playing like a big huge group. Like you don't want to take all your board games to Thanksgiving, so you dock the Switch and you can play couch everything.
Yeah.
So I get that. But other than that, because like the most of the time when I'm wanting to play a board game, because I guess there's some people that like to play board games. Maybe they don't play video games and like to play board games when they're at home, just sitting around. For me, I'd rather do that on my phone or a tablet.
Yeah, I get that.
Mainly because if I go somewhere, I still have the game with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Switch doesn't have cellular at all, so I can only play it when I'm on Wi-Fi. And so for me, the app's a lot better if it's on a device where I can play it anytime,
Yeah.
because the limited amount of times I'm going to play it on the Switch, I could just pull out the board game. Like it's almost the same amount of effort almost.
So is it what you're saying that primarily this will be good for people whose main form of entertainment is the Switch?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if you're a family kind of thing. Because the other thing is Switch games have also gone for really expensive. Like I'm in the position where I'm getting it for free because I'm trying it. But as someone that's thinking about, this is money that people could be spending on other things.
Mm-hmm.
I think most Switch games have been or the board game version of Switch games have been going for like $20.
Oh my.
Which is ridiculous. Whereas the app versions have been around $7 to $10 and can go cheaper if you catch them on sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's a better investment.
So do the versions play exactly the same?
Yes.
It's just okay.
Yeah, like we were playing across the two. So like I was playing on my Switch and Ashley was playing it.
Oh, it's cross-platform.
It's cross-platform.
That's
Okay.
cool.
So yeah, it doesn't matter where you buy it, you're still able to play with everybody else.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that's why it's kind of like
So that's why you're talking about like where to buy it,
Right.
Not the app.
I'm not yes,
itself.
everything I'm saying right now has nothing to say about the app itself.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, because unlike the Carcassonne app was different. When I reviewed the Carcassonne app, there was no multiplayer and it didn't connect with anything. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one it does connect, just like some of the other where you log into an external service and it routes it through there.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, having said that, the app is gorgeous.
Mhm.
It is amazing. This app, you could tell like they worked with I know Shem does the games. Does he draw them?
Yeah,
as
he does
well?
the artwork.
Okay,
I think.
you can tell they work.
Oh no, he doesn't. It's the Miko.
Right. They definitely worked with him because it's got this kind of the way the animation goes and everything. It's all that same sort of artwork that you see in the game, and it's just blended very well into the app. So the app takes that experience and just multiplies it, and it's just beautiful. Ashley said that she didn't like the app as much as she had for her. She preferred the tangible bits of moving the pieces around on the board game.
Mm-hmm.
Like she liked it, but it was one of those like I'd rather just set up the board and move the pieces.
Well,
around.
you have all the nice pieces, so it's a tactily rich game.
No, I have just the base version. It just comes with a lot of good components.
Yeah, that I might have said the wrong thing, but yeah, that's what I was meaning. It's a very tactile game. It's not just chits. It's,
yes. Yeah, it's like tokens and meeples and metal coins and stuff, and we got a playmat for it now. But I will say, like me, I'm probably going to, because since the version for the app I got for Android, I'm probably going to end up buying this for myself for my phone/tablet.
That's cool.
Because it would be a great game, a great toilet game. Let's be honest here. Yeah, but so when I was playing it by myself on the Switch, there'd be so many games I would start and then they would time out because I would not log back. I'd forget to log back in because maybe I only pick up the Switch once a day or every other day.
Yeah.
But like my phone, I could get a notification like, hey, it's your turn. And then those games are real quick where it's just like, boop, do my action and then put it back in my pocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I said, obviously some people are buying it because more people are wanting it out there.
Yeah.
But Having said that, I will say I'm really hoping that the Gloomhaven app, I think it's pretty much I think it's coming to Switch as well. I'm really waiting for that because I feel like that's a little bit more of a meatier game. And I'm not so much wanting to multiplayer that because it just seems like it's a good...
So, hey, you might actually play Gloomhaven.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what I'm waiting for because I feel like that's the way it's going to get the most played is the Switch digital version.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
And
So
you
there
don't
you go.
have to worry about the insert.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Awesome. So we have a copy of a game here called Epoch from Rio Grande Games, and something that you might notice off the bat: the title is not on the front of this box.
Yeah.
It's on every other side except the front, and they did that because they wanted to do something different. They wanted to showcase the artwork on the box, and it is a nice image on there.
Well,
Uh,
if you're one of those people who put your games in a shelf sideways, it doesn't matter anyway.
But yeah, but like, some board game stores or like if you have this set up on a display, I guess it's to bring you in and go, hey, what's that game?
It's a really pretty box.
And I remember seeing an interview. They kind of did it that way. It's like to draw you in by the nice picture.
The
on the front.
artwork in this game in general is really nice.
So
I think it's very pretty.
yeah, this is a sort of exploration, resource management type game. Each player is a part of a tribe, either your own tribe or each part of a tribe trying to lead your people to the best. You're trying to get notoriety.
You're a clan leader.
There you go. You're a clan leader. And you're trying to lead your people into the next era, developing technologies and stuff. And
so it's a civ building game?
Kind of. It's not... It's...
I don't know. You're developing technology.
I think that's kind of the definition of a civ.
I
like
really don't know.
You're making gloves and a pickaxe and that kind of technology.
And building a canoe. And
yeah.
Basic technology. It's not like you're building a military or stuff like that. So what you're doing in this game, you are going around exploring different terrains, mountains, desert, water, forest.
Swamp.
Yeah, and you are on each tile, there is going to be a different technology that you can possibly develop. And developing stuff is how you are going to get a big part of your points at the end of the game. I think our last game that we did, I had like
you were
almost 30 points from my tiles that I had developed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
So that's a large part of your points. And so what you are doing, you are going around, taking an action on your turn, moving around, possibly using extra abilities that you have, developing tiles by trading in goods that are on the tile itself saying, to do this, you need these goods. You trade those in. You can go and with different things. You can go hunting. You can only hunt on certain types of terrain.
Fishing, same thing.
Fishing. You can gather goods, just like say, I'm going to work. And depending on what terrain you're on, you can gather different kinds of goods. Like you're going to get wood a lot easier in the woods than you will in the mountains because the trees just grow more in the forest. Yeah.
You don't get any wood in the desert.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you can. You just have to work really hard. I guess it's buried in the sand.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing is that you can get anything on any type of terrain, but it's just a matter of how much resources you have to expend because your main resource in this game is food. You use food as energy, basically. Everything takes energy.
Mm-hmm.
You need energy to work. You need energy to travel. You need energy to explore the tiles.
Yeah. But some of the inventions that you are creating will help you do those things easier. I think you said that, but still, like if you have a canoe, you can travel by canoe a lot faster than you can walking over certain types of terrain. And
you can carry more goods that way too. There's you can put a lot more stuff because if you've only got so much you can carry, and if you get a whole bunch of stuff and then you move, you have to leave some of it behind. So someone else could come and just pick that up.
Yeah. We've done that.
One of our games, Cindy was leaving stuff everywhere. It's like, I've got too much stuff.
Yeah. I didn't have that problem in our last game, that's for sure. I was struggling.
So yeah, you are going about until someone has developed their 8th tile or someone has, in the 4 corners of the board, there are offering sites or ceremonial sites, and you can make an offering and you trade in goods to do that, and that's also points at the end of the game. When you do that, it flips over a quarter of the board, or the tiles just automatically flip over. Sorry, when you explore a tile, you're revealing what's on that tile, and so when you make an offering, it just automatically flips that whole quadrant. When you make your second offering, it flips everything.
flips.
And once everything on the board is revealed or someone has made their 8th offering, the end of the game is triggered. There are 3 more rounds that happen. And then after that, you tally up points from your tiles, points you have just in general, your ceremonial sites, and one other thing. I think it's how many ceremonial sites that
Yes.
you were at. And then who has the most points is the winner. So that's the general lowdown of it.
The tiles remind me of Suburbia.
A little
Something
bit.
They're the
about
same
those
shape.
hexagonal.
Well, I mean, not just the hex, but just the
I get that because they
something
have
about the graphic
it's-
design.
the bar. I think it's that
oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
banner
I think
across
you're
the
right.
The
middle
bar
of
with
it.
the text in
I
it.
think you're
Mhm.
right.
And then there's the logo up. There's some sort
Yeah.
of symbol up in the top left corner. On
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
really do get that. Maybe that's why the board was appealing to me.
them.
But
Maybe.
this is much more colorful than the original Suburbia tiles.
yes.
Like the collector's edition coming out, that's different. But yeah, it's
Isn't that shipping soon?
yes.
it's supposed to be here like early November,
Nice.
like
I'm
actually
so
arriving.
excited.
So we played this one last time, and Cindy went fishing at one point, and the resource
In the game, right?
Yeah, in the game, and
You're just
the-
playing the game, and Cindy's like, "I'll be right back.
You
I gotta
say
go
one
fish."
last time, like we're never gonna play it again.
No. I mean, before we talked about it on the show, just to refresh ourselves. And Cindy went fishing at one point, and the resource that you get from that is food, but she
I
called
called
it fish. And it was like that to me, like gave a little bit of testament to it actually feels a little thematic, even though it's a kind of it looks like a dry Euro game.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing in it, the developing the different technologies, they make sense. And
Yeah.
In the rule book, they actually explain, like, they elaborate on what everything does. But then there's also a little thematic verse as to why it works the way it does, like, and why you need different resources to make that. Say, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was really neat when I was reading through the rule book initially. I was like, oh. So you need mud clay. I'm thinking Firefly is like, here's where they make mud. Well, clay, really. You need clay to develop certain things. You need
Flax.
flax. It's this would be so much better if I had examples.
An example.
Yeah, but
Do you need to grab the rule book?
no, I don't want to open it up. It's just so nice just sitting there.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah, so they have those nice thematic little verses in there about what everything does. And so at the same time, you can take this as a dry Euro. You can also think of it as having some theme in
Mhm.
there.
I think it's pretty cool because you truly are like going through and you're exploring these different areas and you're learning and making these tools basically and collecting different resources, and it's very early settler. Well, maybe not even early settler, but it's very like
Pioneer.
more like cavemen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean, the subtitle for this is early inventors, and
Yeah.
it's like coming out of the hit something with a rock era.
Mm.
yeah.
They're getting into tool
And
making.
And I just think it's really cool because you develop something and then the next time, like I built a fishing pole. And so when I was fishing, I'm going through and I'm just collecting as many fish as it tells me, okay, in the water you get 4. In the forest you get 2, that kind of thing from like a stream or whatever. But when you get a fishing pole, you're not just catching it with your hands at that point. You have something to lure the fish in. So you automatically get an extra 4 fish on top of whatever you get from the specific terrain you're on. And it adds this, I think it's kind of fun and exciting because it's almost engine building in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you may not constantly be using the tools that you're building, but when you need to, you have it, and it makes things easier for you.
Yeah, you just made me think of one cool aspect about this. A lot of times in games when you're doing engine builders, like you have your stuff, I have my stuff.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
use your stuff, I use my stuff. But in this game, you can gain access to other people's stuff.
Gotcha.
You basically give them a point, and you can use everything of theirs for a
one
turn.
turn.
Well, technology-wise, you can't take their goods or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But so, like, you have a canoe, I have a canoe for this turn. And it's really neat, like, doing that little trade-off. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm giving you a point, so I need to utilize this well.
Yeah. But so it's not as punishing as some games because you do have that sharing ability.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is, it's kind of I wouldn't say intense, but there's a lot to it. And
Yeah, the
you're
player
very,
aid is it's giant.
Oh
It's
my
the size
gosh.
of the box.
but you're very limited. Like, you have plenty of options of things you can do on your turn. You get a main action, and then you have 3 other like auxiliary things you can do. But you get one main action. And so that can be very frustrating because it's like, oh my gosh, I need to fish, or I want to hunt, but I also want to butcher, or I need to fish, but I also want to work. And so it's like, it takes you several turns to be able to do things. But then you can, your auxiliary actions, you can do some of them as many times as you want. Like, you can walk as far as you want as long as you can pay the food for it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's my only complaint, is that sometimes it feels like it takes forever to be able to get to what you want to do. I don't know.
Once you know what the different kinds of actions you can do, the turns go pretty fast.
They do. That's
And,
true.
Like, our first couple plays, they were slow, but it says it's 30 minutes per player on the box. Like,
If you know what everything is, yeah.
when we got into our third, it's like after we got into our third play of this, like the turns were like, it's like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm not moving, I'm done. So they were actually going pretty fast.
That's true.
So yeah, those first couple of plays are going to be kind of slow, just because it's
Knowing
a double-sided.
what you can do.
It's a double-sided, like 12 by 12 piece of card stock that you're looking at for all the actions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good.
Yeah.
In our last play, I was like, you know what? I'm reminded. I actually really like this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really cool too.
And so I'm gonna give this a solid 1.5. It's not like I'm in love with this like any time, but when I'm playing the game,
1.5 thumbs.
1.5 thumbs. It kind of broke off.
Just because like 1.5 out of like 5 would be like, ooh.
Yeah, one and a
yeah.
half out of 2.
Yeah.
It's like one's just kind of bent over, like I don't know what it's doing.
I mean, you could transition our point scale to a 5-point scale.
Sure, I'll give it. Well, can I do 0.5 in the 5-point scale?
Sure.
So it might as well just be a 10-point scale. Can I do 0.5 in a 10-point scale?
Exactly.
Because then
like,
it's a 20-point scale.
Just do 5.
Okay.
or what? We could just use the BGG scale.
Okay. Is that?
What?
Is that?
It goes to 10.
It goes to
But
10.
you
then-
get the 0.7 and
Well, no, no,
0.2.
No,
meaning
it's
the-
standard. It's 10.
It's
But
just
you
Oh.
can add decimals, but it's
well,
just
no,
regular
like
10.
general, it's 1 to 10, but they have each one has a meaning.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's like we'll always pull this out, or like a 7 is we'll play it anytime.
Mm. So I would probably do this as a 7 on that scale. Like I would be up for this. Like if someone suggested it, I would say, yeah, I'll play that.
Yeah. I'm probably about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do, like, I was excited when we pulled this out last time. Because I'm like, oh, yeah, let's play Epoch again. That's exciting. Sure.
So yeah, that's Epoch from Rio Grande Games.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I gotta psych myself up for this next one. Guys, I had a terrible experience.
I had a
Oh,
bad
no.
experience.
I had a bad experience.
What happened?
Oh, no.
So I finally resolved because I was having a hard time getting there's a couple people that were kind of interested, but I was having a hard time getting the Batman Gotham City Chronicles to the table to get it played.
Mm.
So I was
Okay.
like, okay, well, I'll play this solo.
Uh,
Plus, it'll make sure, because I've heard the rules are a mess, so I can make sure I've got all that ironed out before I subject somebody else to this.
it's not a solo game, right?
It's not a solo game.
Okay, it's one versus all.
It's
Or it's
yes, yeah, it is a 1 versus all.
Okay.
Yes. But I went online and BGG has a AI deck that somebody made That's actually really good.
Okay.
So if you've got this game, so this isn't a full-on review. I just wanted to give my first impressions because that was earlier this week and it was very impressive. I had heard everyone talk about how bad the rule book is. Holy crap. I did not understand. I thought that, like, in the realm of bad rule books, I thought that this was like what every, when people talk about bad rule books, I thought this was like every other bad rule book you've seen. No, this sets the bar for bad rule books.
Is this like weird terminology or just bad Britain?
Yes.
Because that's what throws me off with the Fantasy Flight rule books is like they always have like their own terminology. It's like, what does this term mean?
Yeah.
I have to go digging for that, like, and find the...
Android's really bad for that, too.
Yeah. I watched a tutorial video on Android, and it was confusing.
That's one of the hard parts about getting into that game is there's a term for, like, your deck. It's not called your deck. It's called R&D or your stack or whatever.
So it's like that plus other stuff on top of it.
Plus others, yeah. Well, what I mean by bad is, like, first of all, it's not organized in any feasible manner. Like... Basically, the way the rule book is it kind of goes component by component and then breaks down, like, it talks about the game board, then it talks about actions relating to the game board, and then it talks about, like, the hero placard player boards, and then it goes into, like, what a hero's turn is, and then it talks about the villain board. So it's not organized in any way where, like, here's the game board, here's what everything means, here's the hero board, here's what everything means, here's the villain board, here's what everything means.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the game flow. Like, there is no setup instructions at all. Like, normally what I would expect for a game like this, because it's very scenario-based, where it's, okay, there's a whole mission rulebook. And they decided that having a whole mission rulebook was all the setup you needed. Whereas most games will have it'll break down, like, all right, refer to the rule or refer to the thing for, pull out these people, pull out this thing, pull out this, put this in here.
At least have an image.
Yeah, and have, like, a guide. This is just, there's some stuff in the entry is like, here's the way the board's set up, here's the pieces you will need, here's the guys you can hear, here's your special rules, good luck. And so, like, I spent pretty much all day Sunday trying to figure this game out.
Oh my
This is like hours. It took me like 2 hours just to figure out how to set the dang thing up and how the flow of it played. And that was even it. Like, I'm caveating this with, I already knew this was going to be bad, so I went ahead and printed off a bunch of player aids from BGG.
Yeah.
And it still was rough because I would have to reference the book for some of them because it was only like a page or two. And I'm like, wait, what does that mean? And I try and spend forever flipping through the book and whatever. And yeah, like, I set it up and then I finally got around to play it. So, like, all in all, it was like a 4-hour ordeal of trying to figure this game out.
That reminds you talking about that reminds me of my experience trying to prep to play. It was Lost Valley, the Yukon Gold Rush some year. I forget what it was now. 1849 or something like that. No, not 49. Anyway, so I printed out player aids and stuff because I knew I was going to have trouble, like, teaching the game. And then it finally came to it, and it was like, this game's not that great.
Yeah. But on top of those layout, the reason why I said both for those things is not only is there weird layouts of the issues, but, like, I'm pretty sure Monolith is a French company, but some of the images have French text on them instead of English text.
Really?
Like, it doesn't matter so much, but it'll be like if they're showing you a diagram of a card, the card they're showing you will have some French on it instead.
Oh
So it's slipped past the quality control.
Yeah, and also some of their components they designed them to be very universal independent. But what it means is there's a lot of symbology on it that you have to reference in other stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I had a whole player aid that was just all the symbols to reference. And it took me a second to figure out that there was some sort of order. So I was missing abilities that some of my characters had. So
this is like cramming the symbology of Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah.
The rule book for Netrunner.
they like This is, like I said, this sets the bar as far as bad rule books
Well,
are
I'm
concerned.
cramming all this into the rule book. So I'm taking like all these bad elements from other
Right.
games and cramming them into one game.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they are not kidding. This is probably the worst rule book that has ever been written.
Wow.
Ever. Like, this is somebody. This just goes to prove my fundamental point. When you play test a game, you need to play test your rule book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is
Give it to someone, let them
give it
figure
to
it out.
somebody who has never played your game and say, here, can you figure out how to play this from this rule book? If they
Yeah.
say no, go fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And especially, like, I saw a couple of Reddit posts on Kickstarter when they were talking about Kickstarters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have a game where you've gotten the money in advance, you've got this big, huge community.
Mm-hmm.
Send it out to people.
Yeah.
Send out, like, here's the first draft of our rule book. And then people could be like, yo, this is terrible. And you can catch, or, hey, you've got these errors on page 5, 6, and 7. There's French on these, like, hey, somebody can catch that
Right, right.
before you hit print.
Oh no, that's terrible.
What I think is a great idea is like when we're going to like Unpub
Mm-hmm.
and people are like teaching you their game.
Yeah.
Something people could do when they're making a game, record yourself teaching it to someone
Yeah.
and then write that down.
Or, you know, if
Oh yeah.
also I would say in general, hire somebody else to write your rule book.
Yeah.
Because most game designers, it's all up here and it has sometimes the trouble of getting it because you think
Yeah.
you've explained something, but you miss like a key piece
Yeah.
because you're used to explaining it. But yeah,
So you don't write it properly.
or, you know, there are people that do good jobs. Like they make their living off of professional writing.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And there are people out there that edit rule books for a living.
That's true.
I'd be good at that.
But so all in all, I came away from that experience, and even after I played it, I was like, this is just not feeling right. Like, I'm not seeing how I would ever accomplish anything given the way I'm playing it and stuff. I'm like,
Aw.
this just doesn't feel right. And at the same time, like, I want to love this game so bad.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, I want to love this game, but I'm just having the worst experience.
Aw. Hopefully it'll get better.
It does. That's the caveat to this.
Oh.
So I left it set up, and I was like, because everything was set out, and it took me forever to set it up, and it's a table hog. Like, there's a crap ton of stuff. So I left it set up, and I was like, there's a couple of areas I wasn't too sure on, so I watched some playthroughs. And also reading some of the comments, because when you watch a playthrough, I had to watch a playthrough where they sounded like they were not like, hey, it's our first time learning how to play. Here, let's,
Yeah.
you know, try and find someone that kind of knows. And then also reading the comments where they're like, well, you kind of got this rule wrong and that rule wrong.
Wow.
And I watched the playthrough and I'm like, oh, I played it completely wrong.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
because
like
the rules are that bad.
because the rules are that bad.
Oh my
Yeah, like the way I
goodness.
was playing, you know, like the heroes take a turn and then the villains take a turn. And I was playing that like the heroes each get one action because they have these action cubes that you get and get dispersed. That's also your hit points. So when you take damage, you get less cubes to do things
Okay.
Okay.
unless you heal. And so, but I thought it was like, oh, just every turn you get one action to move or something like that, because it makes it kind of clear. It doesn't specify that you can keep doing actions. It just specifies you get one action and then it's the next hero's go. It doesn't specify that you can go back to the same hero. It just says that as long as there are no, you know, it just says like as long as there are ready heroes. What doesn't ever say when your hero's no longer ready, you know.
Gotcha.
Huh,
So I thought
okay.
you only got one action, so it's like, okay, Batman moves. That's it. And then it was
That
like,
was an
man,
epic turn.
yeah, the like 7. Well, then it's like, okay, well now Nightwing's got to do stuff, and then it's like, how am I supposed to defuse all these bombs in 7 turns when I only get 7 things I can? No, you can, as long as you've got cubes, you can do things. And then the villains, I was only activating one dude per each one of their guy, and I realized that when you activate, it's a whole set of dudes. Because I was like, this is really rigged against the villain because he's only getting like one action versus all the, but
So we have Matt in the chat.
oh yeah,
talking about
I
rulebook
thought he
stuff.
might. I thought he might have have some comments, which we'll get to. I'll get. You can read them and paraphrase if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
So I left it set up. I watched it. I realized I was doing it bad. Then the next day, I came down, went at it again. Also, I printed out a different player aid that had each individual character and all their abilities stated out by character.
Oh.
Like I had a summary sheet that had all the abilities, but every time I was having to keep referencing, this one just had it by character, and I could set it in by each board. Like, this is everything that goes to that character. Played a whole lot better.
Good.
Also, I was able to, like, I guess it's also one of those things that after you play it, like the first time's kind of crunchy. And then maybe I got that out of the way with that bad play. So then I was kind of like in the flow, like, okay, I know that like this is what, you know, I need to re-roll. I got to spend cubes for this. And, you know, I got into the system, I think, a little bit more.
Everything that you're talking about is probably taking place within the span of like a few days, right?
Yeah, it was
like you had your crappy play. You watched a playthrough,
that night,
read
and
comics,
and then I
comments,
and then like the very next day I tried it again, the same scenario.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So that is like the ideal thing to do.
Right.
I think like have like
Oh, yeah.
that experience back to back,
Or
'Cause if
have
you-
somebody else who's played the game there with you on your
Yeah.
first time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was rough, but I think I got a good grip on it now, and I definitely enjoyed it more. It's still probably going to be a very hard to get to the table game, but I definitely want to give it some more plays, and I definitely want to get some plays with somebody else playing the villain at least
Oh yeah.
before I'd at least want to get that one-on-one before I did like a full review on it. But
I get that.
that first impression was so like hard. It
Mhm,
was just like at the end of the day, I was just like,
man.
that was not fun. That was the opposite of fun.
I can just picture you going, no.
No, it's just one of those like where the game's just got you and it's just like punching you and you're just afterwards you're just like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matt's talking about rule books in the chat and rule book play testing. What was? It's all smaller now. So he can say that rule books can be a complicated journey, and he agrees with the point on game design. I thought you were reading this, Cindy. You could.
I could say
Oh.
he's just saying that, you know, agree that the person, the
Who
game designer
writes-
shouldn't write the rule book.
Mhm.
They're tough to introduce into playtest settings. It's
Because
get his-
people want to play the game quickly. Yeah, they want to get into playing it quickly.
well,
They
yeah,
wanna
and his
read.
point is if most of your playtesting's happening at a convention like Unpub you're talking
right,
about,
right.
that's
Mhm.
hard to do a rule book because
Absolutely.
people want to jump in the game, and also I guess time wise.
But that's why Colin was saying the person explaining it at like a convention setting,
Like, yeah,
record yourself doing that and then tailor your rule book to that because I
There's
think that's what
there's
Colin
so
was
much you
saying.
can do. Just write your whole rule books out, and then those little rules that people ask about, you got your appendix there.
right.
FAQs,
And then he was talking
yeah.
about, you know, if not a large developer, it's tough to hire somebody out. Well, that's where I
Right.
was saying crowdsource that.
right.
That's
and he
what
does make that point. that-
Kickstarter, you know, like kickstarting, you know, is not only a crowdsource for money, but it also gives you a
the
place.
information.
Yeah, all you got to do is put a print and play version of your game out, and like here's the rules we're looking at,
And
then
people will look at it. for
people will
sure.
look at it and give you feedback, and even
Mhm.
like getting to like any one English person that had read this rule book could have made that rule book 10 times better.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that overall the rulebook won't impact demand of the game, because I'm hoping, because there's been such a negative output and based on other things that I've heard, that there might be maybe a new rulebook in the works.
Yeah, rulebook 2.0.
I'm hoping.
That'd be good.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Well, I'm glad the second time was better.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
that was definitely,
Yeah, I'm glad too. For
but
you.
speaking of rules, let's break some rules.
Okay.
And we can only
Okay.
you can only break some rules by going to Patreon.com. That was a terrible segue.
I thought you were going into the game show.
I realized it was a
He
better.
changed gears.
I
Yeah.
realized I was trying to go for the Patreon plug, but I realized it was a better segue for the rule or for the,
the game
show.
show.
But yeah, so patreon.com/boards and swords. It's great for the people that have supported us. Like we got Rusted Beetle in the chat room, who he's one of our newest Patreon supporters. So shout out to him and thanks for supporting us. Like him, even at $1 a month, we don't care. That's all that
Yeah.
matters. Sure, if you want to pay more and let me harass you about your favorite game,
Yeah.
or make it's not so much
Mhm.
harass as it's just, you know,
Make your silly dad jokes.
yeah. But I was trying to think of a clever way of saying that. Basically, just irritate your ears
Ah.
with the sound of my voice making bad dad puns.
It's a punny homage.
Yeah, there you go. So, but now speaking of bad rule books, let's write some of our own.
Okay.
I wish I had a soundbite.
So, basically, what I
response to that.
decided to do here is Mad Libs, but with rule books. I pulled some of the first couple of first sentence or so of some popular. Everyone's played these games,
Okay.
and even Philip had he been here, and so it's not going to be as developed as a normal Mad Lib because I had to leave enough of the sentence structure that you might end up getting it.
Mm.
So the chat room can also help. Just start throwing out some nouns, plural nouns, and verbs because that's most of what's the most of what these are going to be.
There's not a lot of adjectives in game design. Or
No,
game
there are,
rules.
but like I said, some of them I needed to leave in for you to
Oh, I
have
see what you're
any
saying.
sort of hope
Mm-hmm.
at getting the So we're gonna go through and I'm gonna get all the words first.
Perfect.
And then we'll go through each. So I got 3 examples here because I wasn't sure how this was going to go.
Yeah.
So like I said, the chat room can go ahead and just start throwing out random stuff. But first thing I
Yeah.
need is an adjective.
Purple. By the way, Mad Libs were one of my favorite things to do growing up.
All right.
I would buy the books and take them on car trips with us and annoy my family, and I just loved it.
Fun fact, back when we used to do the OCD show, I used to have a segment that was called Monster Manual Mad Libs, where I would take stuff. This was also right after the 5th edition Monster Manual came out for D&D. I would take random monsters and do Mad Libs of their descriptions and see if Philip could guess what the actual monster was.
That's funny.
So I need a noun.
Monster.
I'm going to move that somewhere else because that's going to be gross with those 2 next to each other.
So you need another noun?
Yes.
Doorknob.
All right. I need a number.
42.
Okay. I need a verb.
Stabbing. Or stab.
Okay. I need another noun.
Ceiling.
You gotta get me a chance.
Sorry,
Try to alternate, darling.
I'm trying to stall.
All right. Verb.
Punctuate.
This is improv training, just like first thing that comes to mind.
All right.
Punctuate was.
All right. I need both of you, I need a plural noun. So I need 2 plural nouns.
Scissors.
Pantalones. Just pants. That's fine.
Okay. And then I need a verb and a noun.
Verb, I'm going to go with blow.
Okay.
Comforter.
Okay. 2 more plural nouns.
Scoopers. I just kept thinking scoops. I'm like, no, that's a verb. Scoopers.
Let's go with turds.
Okay.
Poopers.
Another plural noun.
Crabs.
Okay. All right. I need a verb and a noun.
What?
I don't want to say. The only thing they keep, for some reason,
I was wondering if anybody was going to go south with these.
for some reason, the only verb that keeps coming to mind is fornicate. but let's say swim.
You said just a regular noun, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mountain.
Okay. I need a verb and a verb and an adjective. Or wait, let's do the opposite. Verb and an adjective.
Okay, there we go. Saving me from myself.
A
Yeah.
verb. Let's do
No, you're doing an yeah, you're right. You're doing a verb. You're doing an adjective.
golfing.
Okay, I'm gonna just do golf.
Okay.
Okay.
As a verb?
Yes.
Okay.
Huge.
Okay. Now I need an adjective and a noun. Or no, yeah.
I'll do an adjective.
Okay.
Okay. We. Like as we as in little. We W-E.
Oh. Sorry, I
Did
just
you
read.
read your
I
rule?
just read what the statement made.
With we.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait to hear it.
And now mine.
Yeah.
My noun.
Yeah.
Wood.
Okay. All right.
You're
I need
right.
2 nouns and a plural noun, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
What was it?
2 nouns and a
2
plural
nouns
noun.
and a plural noun, and we'll be done.
Winnebago
Uncle.
and clouds.
All right. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't forget one. I realized I screwed. The reason why some of these I messed up some. I think I messed up the type of word, but but it's okay. I can edit.
Okay.
Or it might have just been a case of tense. Anyways, all right. So, question number 1.
All right.
A game of purple doorknob is played over 42 rounds. The goal is to stab as many scissors to each other as possible by blowing scoopers that can create crabs.
What?
I think I have an idea.
A game.
Is this supposed to be modern games, though?
Yes.
Oh, I have no idea.
A game of purple doorknob is played over 42 rounds. The goal is to stab as many scissors to each other as possible by blowing scoopers that can create crabs.
Oh, I
Was blowing one of our
know.
words?
It was blow, and I had to change it to blowing.
What? I have no idea.
Purple doorknob. So adjective noun.
Can you say it again?
A game of purple doorknob is played over 42 rounds. The goal is to stab as many scissors to each other as possible by blowing scoopers that can create crabs.
Oh my gosh.
See, barrel of monkeys is what came to mind at first, but that's not adjective
Any guess?
noun.
Like I said, it's a game all of us have played.
Code names.
Is that your guess? What's your guess?
This is happy salmon.
A game of Railroad Inc. is played over
Oh.
7 rounds. The goal is to connect as many exits to each other as possible by drawing routes that can create networks.
May I
Oh
ask
my
how
gosh.
railroad or ink is an adjective?
I thought that railroad, because it's a type of... I thought railroad was an adjective in this case.
Okay, so the next one might be better.
Aww. All right.
This one's the one that... So I moved monster because I didn't want it to say a game of purple monster. I thought that was... But where I moved it to...
Might just be just as bad.
The more you punctuate your pants throughout the comforter and the more turds you swim, the more they golf around their wee monster.
I think we changed out too many words.
What?
One more time, please.
The more you punctuate your pants throughout the comforter and the more turds that you swim, the more they golf about their wee monster. I think I subs out too many words.
I think so. I'll say ticket to ride. Yeah.
I just say don't think about it. I think it's more fun what came up than you trying to guess.
I kind of want to say barrel of monkeys again.
Let's go with blood rage.
It was Euphoria.
Of course. Oh, it makes sense now.
What?
The more you send your workers throughout the city and the more workers you add, the more they discover about their twisted society.
Whatever word was worker, did you use it twice?
No, I didn't.
You
I used two. I used
should
this. I used the different word each time.
Mm.
Shame, shame. It's okay. This is still funny. It actually made it really funny.
So it should
It would
have
have
been
made
the more,
so much more
the more
sense.
you punctuate your pants throughout the comforter, and the more pants you swim, the more they golf.
turn.
The more they golf around their wee monster.
We'll, we'll refine
the more
this.
you punctuate your pants in the comforter. It sounds so dirty. Where's fornicate when you need it?
Oh man, I just punctuated my pants.
All right, so last one. Like I said, I knew this was probably going to go south.
Oh.
Each ceiling takes on the mountain of a huge wood and builds a Winnebago around that uncle's clouds.
I'm guessing ceiling is player. Each player was builds one of our words or one of yours? Or one of the rules?
No, that was one of the rules.
Each player builds.
Each player takes on the mountain of a huge wood
Oh.
and builds a Winnebago around that uncle's clouds.
Each player takes on.
Around. Build something around something. I'm going to go with Ticket to Ride.
I'm going to say Rhino Hero. Super Battle.
Each player takes on the role of a single investigator and builds a
Oh.
deck around that investigator's abilities. It was Arkham
Way
Horror, the
off.
card game.
Wait.
Oh. Yeah, I would not know that.
My only weakness.
I would not. I was thinking dexterity games, like
Mm.
building and. That's funny. Oh my gosh, that was great.
Good times. Good times.
A wee monster.
No, punctuating my pants is going to be a saying from now on.
We should clip it.
That's the name of this episode.
Punctuate my pants.
Thanks for that, Chris.
That was funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, you stayed true to the.
And I wasn't even like, I could have just gone in order, and I started to in the beginning, and then I was like, I'm just going to alternate different ones, and it ended up working beautifully.
So
Yeah.
how did you set this up so you could fill in the stuff?
I just copied that out of
delete a
rule book and
word, put
delete a rule.
adjective.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Hmm.
That was fun.
And then just copied them both in there so I could edit and read the actual.
Nice.
It's good.
All right, so that's all we got this week. Oh, that's right. Philip's not here.
No.
All right, thank you everyone for. I'm all messed up. It's right in front of me. Thanks everyone for listening. If you like this show, then you need to go visit boardsandswords.com and check out the other show. We'll stream it next week. It's all in the off weeks. Dirtbags of Holdings, where we talk about RPGs. We just had our discussion show where we talked about spooky RPG games.
Nice.
Cool. So if you like this show, you can email us comments and questions at feedback@boardsandswords.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Boards and Swords Pod or on Facebook at Boards and Swords Pod. I guess it'd be facebook.com/Boards and Swords Pod, excuse me.
Yep.
But you can also follow our individual accounts. I'm Cindy Pastorius on Twitter and Instagram.
I am ColdCakes196 on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on both places at Chris the Prof.
And we are also a part of the Dice Tower Network. You can go and find other great board gaming podcasts at dicetowernetwork.com. And Dice Tower Network is supported a lot by Cool Stuff Inc. CoolStuffInc.com. You can go to their website and check out all their awesome gaming deals and buy some great games at low prices. That's all I got to say about that.
And thank you for listening. For people watching in the chat room, thank you for joining us, even though we had like Kyle that just jumped into the chat room.
It's all right.
Rewind.
You almost made it.
You almost got it. Thank you for listening again, everybody, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and it shouldn't be punctuated in your pants. Good night.
See ya.
Oh, guys, we got to stop the show and start over. Kyle wants us to start over.
I'm going to go home and play some Lego Star Wars.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Good night.